Hey, coach. So glad you found the video. Make sure you subscribe and like. Make sure you go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Let me help you put banners and national rankings and all those things in your gym. Go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It's a community of like minded coaches. We just got off an hour and a half call. Come over and join us, and let's head off to the video.
All right, welcome to the Basketball Leadership Podcast. Coach, how are you?
I am doing wonderful.
You're
Yourself?
you're on summer break when this is going live.
Oh, that's a good feeling.
I'm getting
It
ready for
wasn't live when
camp.
we did it, but I am looking forward to. I'm right in the middle, right about now. I'm releasing my Better Coach OS. My plan is to do it this week, and I'm really excited about this. I've spent a lot of time, months upon months on it.
That's a great thing you just did there for yourself, coach. The coach is motivating himself. It's several things I've done as far as business. I've always thrown the dates out, and
Yep.
then I've had to get it done.
I,
And it's like I did it with Teach Hoops. I did it with my coaching youth. I've done it with a
yep.
bunch of stuff. It's like it's launching on this date, and then you procrastinate, and then it's like, holy crud, I gotta get this done, and then you just
I always work better under pressure.
I
And so
know.
I've got this date, it's a deadline. And, right before we started doing this podcast recording today, I mean, I buckled down for 2 hours and got a lot done. So I like putting those on me. I think it's a good
I
little
think it is a good. I
hack.
think it's a good. I think yeah. I think it's a good. It's a good golden nugget for coaches that are listening to this. It really is.
Yep, it is.
Because it makes you do it. Like
Yeah, it does. It
and I'm
gives
a
yourself
list
a
guy. I
deadline.
have enough post-its and lists to
Yeah.
last. Like it's fine, and I'll get through my list. And I'm a check mark person, but oh my gosh.
Yep.
All right, so we're gonna. This is a great one. I'm glad we're doing this one. We're talking about body language today, Coach. And what
Yep.
do you have about that?
Well, I've posted a lot on X with body language. Language screams. I think it's a great phrase. We talked about phrasing a couple podcasts ago, but this is one I use with kids and showing examples. I did it this last season. We were kind of mid-season, and we had a couple guys. And I don't watch our bench during the game, right? But I have my assistants on it, and then I'll go back and watch film. When you watch film, you see things, and I didn't like where our body language is going with a couple guys on the team. And so you got to address it, and you can show them video. And when someone's sitting back in their chair slumped in the middle of the game, um how does that impact other people on the team?
It's
you know
and it's hard. I'm going to be honest, and it's hard for at least the head coach. So I've had assistants when I've had teams that have struggled with this. I've had assistants watch for me because it's
Yep,
hard.
it is.
As basketball is such a fast moving game that I don't necessarily know what's going on behind me.
I don't even I don't hear fans in a game. Some people have rabbit ears
Yeah.
in a game. I mean, I hear noise. Occasionally I'll hear something specific pop up, but I am so in tune with the game. I don't hear other things, and I'm certainly not looking for body language on the bench behind me.
Right.
It's hard.
It
It's
is
hard.
hard. It is hard. I'll see it on the courts because I'm watching the
Oh yeah,
courts.
absolutely.
So that's an easy one to fix. It's it's the other stuff that you don't see. So you have a rule in here. Talk about the rule.
Well, this was a study done in 1967. I think Psychology Today published it, and they call it it's not a perfect rule, but it kind of lays the foundation for the importance of body language. But they did this study, and I think Albert Mehrabian, I think, was the guy that did it, and he found out that 7% of communication are the words we speak. 38% is the tone on how we say it, and then 55 is our facial expression. And so that's where you've seen sometimes where it says 93% of how we communicate is body language. It's not the actual words. And they did a follow-up with that because that's a little maybe excessive. And really what they said, and I'm going to read this because I liked how it was phrased, but when there are inconsistencies between the attitudes communicated verbally and with your posture, then when they're not the same, we look at the body language. When there's consistency with what we're saying and how we're saying it, then you hear the words. So
That
if
makes more sense to me too. It's
yeah,
like,
and
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
does to me too. But if our words don't match our body language, you see body language. And if they
Right,
match, now the words matter.
right.
And so this is important, I think, not just for us as coaches, but for players and leaders and team leaders to understand the how matters. And you have to be genuine, and your words have to match your facial expression and your body language and tone and everything. And when they're not, you're going to have issues. And so
Right.
you may be on the bench, a player may be on the bench slouching, and they may be totally into the game, but that body language of slouching says something different. They're not aligned, and that's where you have issues.
And so how do you deal with body language? How do you deal with, because I think personally, from someone that's done this a long time, they don't always know they're doing it.
No, I
They
don't.
really
I mean,
don't.
I think we all, I have that. I
Yeah.
think us as coaches, it's the same. I'm not,
Yeah.
my
Official.
wife tells me all the time, right?
Yeah, right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Officials have definitely told me that.
yeah,
Yeah.
officials. There you go. I mean, um, and it can go the other way too. I have more people come to me and they'll say, you know, do you ever get upset in a game? Or, I mean, I'm inside, I am dialed in, I'm tuned, I'm competitive, I'm focused. But I think how I show it sometimes is I don't have a lot of reaction to things. I might inside, but I don't on the outside, which is probably a good thing as a coach. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but as a communicator, it's important to have that match up.
Right.
But yeah, I think you have to address it head on. I mean, there's no other way around it.
And
If
the problem is, I have found it's easier to address it when it's happening. That's
totally.
and it's hard. That goes back to what you and I were saying.
Yep.
It's like that's where sometimes you need other eyes to help you,
Yep.
because I will see it sometimes and then I can address it, but sometimes I won't see it and then you address it a day later. Unless you have visuals, it's like, well, there's no coach is picking on me, or coach is like whatever. It's like,
And
so I think
and
there's
what
some, yeah,
and what do we see as coaches? You see the kid with the head goes down in the middle of the
right,
game and they start pouting, or they miss a shot, or they're jogging back on defense. I mean, it just, you have to have a next play mindset. I mean, basketball is such a free flowing game, and
yes,
it's such a battle of the mind. I mean, it really is, and
it
it's about
is,
confidence, and it's about moving on to the next play, and not letting your thoughts control who you are. Like, and that's why I love, quote unquote, The Secret, which is, just because you have a negative thought does not mean you have to believe it.
right.
Like, we've got to have these conversations with kids all the time. You are what you think, but you can filter out.
Well, I had a discussion with one of my backup guards this year, and he was having some issues. And I said, "Here's your homework. You got to You got to go home and come up with your negative response. What when something goes bad, what is going to be your trigger?" And I told him, I
Yeah.
said, "You can't steal mine. Mine was 2 claps." And then as soon as I did the second clap, I was done with it. It was over. So I said, "You have to come up with it." And he came up. It took him a while. He struggled a little bit with it.
Yep.
But I said, "You almost got a trigger. Okay, that's
Hmm.
over. Done. I can't do anything about it. Move on." Because otherwise it just lingers. And like you said, there's so many things that happen in a basketball game. You can't let the missed layup bother you. You just,
Oh,
you know,
it's,
yeah,
I know, Kevin Garnett, I know, had the wristband, or the rubber band on his wrist. And
yeah,
anytime he made a mistake in a game, he would just pull it,
right,
kind of snap. And then he moved on, but it was almost his way of, disciplining himself, reminding himself, triggering himself,
so
whatever it may be, to move on.
right.
And so sometimes you need those triggers that allow you to move on to that next play. And
And I've had benches like we talked about last week with energy on benches. benches that have been able to help kids that have not had good body language. So they usually,
Yeah.
it's weird. It's kind of like a classroom. They sit in the same spots. They really do usually to
Oh,
start.
they do. But how important is one high energy guy on your bench?
Right.
Like they feed off the other people. I mean, we had guys in our bench that wouldn't say a word, but because they were by someone that was the opposite, they pulled them along, and that's leadership. I mean, it really is.
All right. Anything else, Coach?
I think that's good.
All right. Till next week.
Hey, Coach, so glad you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Actually, if you did, subscribe and like, and then go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better.